What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on these analysis. We're going to be looking at Palantir today. So we have seen a little bit of a drop for the past couple weeks now. It's really just been these past 2 weeks here. As you can see, we did pull down a total of 25%, and we're currently down about 16.9, 17%. We have slightly lost this trend line. Depends on how you draw it though. If you have it drawn out how I have it, then you've lost the trend line. But if you were to take it from this candle over to this candle here, and you kind of make it something like that, then maybe you haven't lost it, and maybe we actually trend sideways until we connect with it, and then we continue up higher. There's always different ways of drawing it depending on which candles you use, which wicks you use, and so on. Yeah, I would say that's probably that secondary trend line that you have established as well. Like I said, 2 pretty red weeks. We'll see if we can break back above this and continue up. But the trend has been relatively bullish for some time now. As you can see, we're on the weekly chart, and this thing's been ripping ever since really August 5th. And even prior to that, it was creating a nice bull flag. As you can see, a nice push up, sideways chop, slightly pushing upward, and then absolutely ripping to the upside, well beyond what I was anticipating. And it's been on an absolute tear all the way since January 2023, really, after this major downfall. This downfall was roughly a 85%, 86% drop, and then an absolute insane rally from the bottom to the top. It has been a total of about 3,000%, which is unheard of. And I don't even think they're done yet. I think they're still just getting started. Still a relatively new company. Great CEO running the corporation. So we'll see where it takes us from here. But things are looking pretty good. Could be a little overheated with the valuation, but if you have a long-term outlook, then it shouldn't really be too much of a problem. Even if you see some kind of short-term pullback, you should just use it as more of a buying opportunity. Just like you saw over here where we had this significant drawdown of almost 50%. And if you use that to accumulate, now you're happy, because let's say you're buying all the way in between this mix over here, and you're up 120% just from buying in this area over here. Of course, if you bought it all the way at the bottom, which isn't realistic, but if you happen to do it, you're up 185%. And even if you bought here at the top, you'd be up 50%. So, and that's my point, because even if you buy the top here and you have a long-term outlook of 5, 10, 15 years, this thing could still be up massively. So don't get discouraged whenever you see some kind of drawdown, especially when you're buying something that's ripping to the upside. You have to anticipate some kind of drawdown. The odds of you buying at the perfect time and it just continues to rip up, it doesn't really happen like that. A lot of times you're going to buy when you shouldn't be buying, and you're going to see some kind of drawdown, but that's okay because you dollar cost average into it and you ease your way into the position. On the SMAs on the weekly, you can see we're riding the 20 pretty well. We fell underneath it temporarily, and we've been pushing up off of it pretty well off of this wick here. We'll see if we can come into contact with it again. Maybe we trend sideways until we come into contact, and then we push up higher. If not, then we break the 20 and fall to the 50, but right now, the way the momentum's carrying, I don't see that happening at the moment, but it's always possible. On the daily, we did fall underneath our 20, and then we made contact with our 50. And it looks like we've been finding some support. We haven't closed underneath it just yet. We've wicked already 3 or 4 times. And whenever we fall underneath our 50, it's pretty short-lived, as you can see from March 27th. And then we were back above it within a month. We were already pushing relatively strong back to the upside after a nice little inverse head and shoulders and higher prices. So we'll see if we actually end up falling through or not. Whenever it falls, it usually falls pretty hard because it's a volatile stock. So be prepared for something significant down if we do see a downside. But I also would not be surprised if we ripped right through this 20 and start the trend back up higher. And on the monthly, we really don't have much because it's still a brand new stock. The 20 moving average is still slowly climbing its way down or up, and we probably won't make contact with that until we see some kind of significant drawdown, because it's all the way down at 67. So I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe if we have some kind of recession or economic downturn. Right now, I don't see that happening. On the Bollinger Bands, we do have the blue band right underneath us, and we did find rejection off the red band, so I'm not surprised. We were a little overheated. I think it's just a nice little setback for price, and it's a cool down period to continue the trend higher. And hopefully we can hug the red band on the way up like we've seen over here, and we can do the same thing for higher prices here on Palantir. And on the daily, we made it all the way down to the bottom band, the green band. We found rejection off of it, a nice little bounce to the upside. We'll see if we can make it to the blue band and start to make our way up to the red band, and so we can see some higher prices here on Palantir. Just need that momentum pushing up to the upside. And when you take a look at the RSI on the weekly, we are slightly underneath overbought territory. We were creating some kind of a bull flag, and it looks like we just kind of broke out of it. We deviated from it and invalidated it. But we are underneath our yellow moving average, which I think if we can break back above and get to overbought territory, we might be able to see a nice green shaded area like we saw over here. And that could take us to even higher valuations on Palantir, which is hard to believe, but it's definitely possible. When these stocks get going and they're hot, what's not the largest market caps, they can just keep going. Right now on the daily, sitting at around 43, slightly underneath the neutral zone, slightly towards the bearish side, but I think this could always rip back up to the upside and start to push back up. But we have seen a key level of support right at the midline, really. It was a key level as support and resistance along the way, so I do think we might find a little ceiling as we come up to it. Hopefully break it, use it as support, and make our way back up so we can get a nice sustainable move to the upside for Palantir. I think the way it has been increasing has been pretty solid though. It has been kind of just stair-stepping its way up. And that's kind of how you want it to do. You want to stair-step it up, because if you go absolutely vertical, it gets a little tough, because on the drawdowns, it can hit you really hard. So, I mean, this is pretty vertical, honestly, but I guess it could be even more vertical. We have been building some support though. It hasn't been absolutely like monster moves up. It's kind of just like slowly creeping, then like one strong week or two strong weeks. I feel like that's kind of how it's been doing. So it has been building a nice little base underneath price, which is always nice to see, because that helps price out. Like I said, whenever you get a pullback, you have key levels of support to hold it up. And when we take a look here on this fib, you can see that we made it to the 0.5 of the 618, got a nice bounce, continued the trend. And then if we pull here for this entire leg, if we make it down to the 382, that would be 126. If we made it to the 0.5 to 618, then that would be 105 to around 84 or so. And if we get a bounce there, then I could see price continuing to the upside and getting a nice continuation. Right now, Palantir is looking pretty solid, but I do still think it could be slightly overvalued, but like I said, or not even slightly, it is overvalued. But the thing is if you have the long-term outlook and you believe in what the company's doing and you believe in the CEO, which is a big part of it. If you need a good leader to run the company, and if you want to make money, you have to be behind that strong leader, intelligent leader that has innovative ideas. And you almost want a company to have like that monopoly effect where they're pretty much the only ones doing it in their space, really. And Palantir has that. So this could be a good opportunity, like I said, even though they are overvalued. But in 5 to 10, 15 years, it's going to be a discount, because I still remember when it was down, at $15 or whatever, and I was looking back when it was $40. I was like, dang, I should have bought it at 15. Now it's overvalued at 40, 45. And then now I'm looking at 40, 45, like, man, that was a good price. It's now $160. So I feel like the same thing is going to continue to happen, and you'll be like, man, 150 was a good price. When it's sitting at 900, you're going to be like, man, that was a discount. So it always happens time and time and again. The longer you're in the market, the more you'll see it happening. But I still think Palantir will have higher to go long term. So not financial advice, but if you DCA into this, you should be fine over a longer period of time. That's pretty much all I have for you. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe on the video. Check out the Discord. The link is in the description. It's the link tree. Check that out. Join. And we're just starting a community up, and just having like-minded people together and trying to grow together financially And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.